Namaste. Today, I want to speak directly to my sisters who are navigating the landscape of perimenopause. I've been there. I'm with you. And if you are in this season, you already know the cultural narrative. Society tells us this transition is a medical crisis, a malfunction, a time when we are drying up or losing our value because our linear predictable cycles are ending. What do I mean? It tells us we are has-beens. I recently had a friend who had come over for tea, and we were discussing. Oh, she used to be very pretty, and people would notice her in the supermarket, and now she's in perimenopause. Everything's going south. Nobody looks at her anymore, as if you have no value, right? And if you can, and if you're someone who has had trauma in childhood or in young age, you just pushed it inside because you have to deal with life and you have to survive. But this is the time in perimenopause, all the trauma is, which is in your body, in your flesh, it's going to come out. So if you spend a lifetime repressing and not dealing with it, or not, maybe you don't even know it's there, or you are like to keep peace, you're people pleaser. Perimenopause can feel terrifying because your body is trying to push all those emotions out. And on the top of that, there are hormonal shifts that cause hot flashes. And you could even have, anxiety attacks, and there's erratic mood shifts. And on the top of that, there's the work situation. Maybe you've been cut off by a job, or maybe you're trying to do a project, and then there's a career hanging in the balance as you're aging. So, wow, there's a lot collapsing in perimenopause. But I'm here to offer you a different truth. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. Your body is undergoing a profound neurological and a spiritual upgrade. I mean, if you're 50 years old and you stopped having your period for 12 months, it means you're menopausal, or you're soon going to be if your periods have become erratic. And the changing hormones are actually stripping away your capacity to abandon yourself. We as women, we like to take care of everyone else, and we ourselves are on the back burner. I know I was one of those. So our body's like, no, baby, you gotta put yourself first. This is the time, put yourself first. No, wake up. If you don't, the symptoms are gonna be worse. My name is Monica Groover. I'm an Ayurveda practitioner, and I deal especially with the women's wellness issues, spiritual issues, and let's talk about perimenopause. And before we speak today, let's just take a moment to land wherever you are listening, whether you're driving, walking, sitting in your room. See if you can invite your awareness to travel down past the noise of the day, past the analytical mind, down into the heavy, grounded space of your pelvic bowl. Let your shoulders drop a millimeter. Take a breath. If it feels safe, invite this breath into your lower belly. Let the belly soften. Now just exist and listen, and let's talk about perimenopause and you. Our In this episode, I'm going to talk about your Shakti that you have accumulated from previous life. And if you haven't, you need to accumulate it. There is the physical Shakti, meaning your kapha that gives you immunity, but there's also spiritual Shakti. So, anyway, for your life force for decades may have been directed outwards. Create business, raise children, tend to others, guard the gates towards the external stress. Let's go for a run, exercise, look great. It just deal with everything that life throws at you. Deal what you can, and if you cannot deal with it, just let it aside. Unfortunately, if you're perimenopausal, it can start in late 30s, even mid 30s for someone in 40s. If you're a millennial or a little older, or you're just, you know, in menopause or postmenopause, now your sacred fire is turned inward. Woo! It wants to get out the stuff that you didn't deal with. So all your symptoms are eliminating your dark corners. They're asking you, what is no longer serving you? Where have you been sacrificing your sovereignty? So, your yoni, your womb space, is anatomically where we hold this Shakti, your womb wisdom. So, it's shifting from a rhythm of fertility to a rhythm of rest. That means you can focus on other things, spiritual things, and things that are important to you in the next half of your life. It is the seat of your raw intuition. It is the seat of your connection to your mother and Mother Earth and all the mothers that have come before. And when this hormonal storms hit, it's not a sign of pathology. We're talking about Vedic wisdom after all. So it is your body and mind's very highly intelligent way of communicating that a boundary needs to be drawn. So your body is not broken. It is simply remembering its way home. In a world that demands constant linear productivity, many of us have disconnected from our physical forms to survive. We push past our exhaustion, numb our deeper calling, and stay frozen in a cycle of stress or hypervigilance. But your body holds a deeper truth. Beneath the protective armor lies your prana, your tejas, your raw life force. And you have your uterus and your womb wisdom. So there's trauma stored there. If you've given birth, not given birth, but there's trauma. Even for someone who's had their womb removed, phantom limb and all that, there's stuff that we as women can hold, the trauma that we didn't want to deal with or stress, we can push it down to our uterus. And that may lead to heavy bleeding and other problems. So now we want to heal, create, and rest and give it the space it needs to. Whew, okay. And that's why you need Ayurveda practitioner. So today is an invitation to step out of the survival mode and return to your sacred rhythms. So I do these workshops, both online and in person. They're somatic, Vedic, trauma-informed sanctuaries. We are not going to view your past pain as survival mechanism or something that needs to be fixed. Instead, we honor them as brilliant guardians of, what's happening. So it's a gentle invitation-based practice. We will create the safety needed to talk, frozen energy, claim your boundaries, and listen to the cyclic intelligence of the body. So, in order to heal, especially for a woman who has all these perimenopausal symptoms, hormones, fatigue, hot flashes, insomnia, all of that, and more, just move away from linear urgency. Track your internal season energy tides, your nervous system fluctuations without shame. Sleep longer if you have to. And we work on doing meditations and yoga and taking herbs that anchor the yoni. So reconnecting with the yoni, the energetic physical seat where we have pushed all kind of stuff. But also, this is an area which holds our ancestral power and ignite our Shakti. We want to reactivate our life force. Again, gentle exercise. So hard exercise is a no, no, no. Gentle exercise. Swimming, walking, yoga, uh, tai chi, qigong. And when I say yoga, not Ashtanga, hardcore yoga, but maybe yin yoga, something that you hold the pose and so on. If you're perimenopausal, you're not drying up. You are burning away what no longer serves you. Perimenopause is often marketed as a medical crisis or chaotic breakdown. And our culture, especially the Western culture, is often obsessed with youth and linear productivity. I mean, uh, Botox and all the beauty products and whatnot. You know, Erratic cycles, sudden heat, emotional tides of this transition are very unsettling. It can activate old trauma, leaving you feel unsafe, disconnected, and you almost feel who's living in your own skin. Who am I? But this shift is actually your alchemical uh, It's almost like an alchemy. You are shifting into a new person, and your changing body is demanding that you stop abandoning yourself. Take care of yourself. The fluctuating hormones are stripping away your capacity to people please, force us forcing us to look inward. This is the moment you shift from an external person to an internal transformation. It is time to learn the language of your changing tempo. Think about it this way. If you are in perimenopause, everything else that is happening with you, I mean, you might go out and you might have allergy to the pollen, but it's going to be exacerbated because you're perimenopausal. It's just going to be more intense. On the top of that, the hormones are in decline. So, you're unable to sleep because there's a sleep hormone, and then there's estrogen decline. So everything's going south. Your eyes are becoming dry. So I'm just going to rattle out a list of some menstrual and reproductive systems. Of course, if you're perimenopausal, and it can start 10 years before the periods actually stop. You could either have a shorter or longer cycle. You can have either heavier or lighter periods. You can skip a period or not have a period at all. You can have very heavy blooding or flooding. You can have spotting in between periods. Your PMS, your premenstrual syndrome can be worse with maybe your breasts or there's vaginal trend, breast tenderness, or even shrinkage of breasts, or the breasts are no longer full. Vaginal dryness, vaginal atrophy, the size of vagina becomes dried and less. Painful sex, decreased libido, irritation in the vaginal area, uh, increased UTIs or infections, bladder weakness, frequent urination, they might be cramps. And then there is the temperature related symptoms, hot flashes, night sweat, cold sweats. You're just freezing an hour later, you're having hot flash, and maybe you're chilled in one moment. So it's a lot of fluctuation in temperature. Then let's talk about sleep. You can have either, you can go to sleep, that means you have difficulty falling asleep or insomnia, or the sleep is uh, not deep, it's a very light slumber, or it's disrupted, or even if you slept the whole night, you wake up and you're still unrefreshed, or fatigue and low energy, or you want to have more naps during the day. Then there's the cognitive and neurological brain fog, difficulty concentrating, memory lapses, confusion, dizziness, sometimes headaches, pins and needles, dizziness, frozen shoulder, burning mouth, mental health, mood, can be mood swings, anxiety, depression, overwhelmed. You feel like crying, loss of motivation, decreased stress, feeling of dread. You might don't want to socialize with anyone. I just don't feel like it. You might feel you've lost confidence in yourself, in your body, because you just don't look the same. You might get some intrusive thoughts, heightened emotional sensitivity. I have listed 50. That was 50 symptoms. Let me talk about musculoskeletal. We talk about frozen shoulder. Let's talk about joint pain, back pain, metabolic weight gain, weight loss. And usually for pitta, the weight gain is going to be in the middle. For kapha, all over. For vata, it might be weight loss, or it might be bloating for a vata person. Then digestive issue can be diarrhea or constipation or gas, depending on whether you're vata, pitta, or kapha person, nausea, acid reflux, changes in cholesterol. And then that was 60 symptoms. Let's talk about your skin, hair, and nails. Hair start thinning, nails become brittle, body odor changes, skin becomes drier or itchy, acne breakouts, and the hair losses, also the change in dental hygiene, gums, and so on. And that's 66 symptoms I've given you. Your sense of smell or taste, dry eyes, vision changes, ringing in the ears, heart palpitation, restless leg syndromes. Like I said, if you had allergies or any kind of food sensitivity, they will be heightened, new. right? So that was 72 symptoms of perimenopause. Wow, that was a lot, wasn't it? Anyway, in Ayurveda, perimenopause is Rajona Vrittikala, meaning when you're actually bleeding. And then when that stops or is about to stop, there's a natural transition. I mean, think of it this way. If you just had the flu or you were sick, right? And now you no longer have the flu, you're getting better, but you'll naturally have no energy. It doesn't make sense for you to have coffee or a stimulant while you have no energy because body needs you to have absolutely low energy while it works on healing you, right? And similarly, that perimenopause time, all these symptoms are happening. Unfortunately, they are stretched over like 10 years. And so if you're a vata, the dryness, irregularity, anxiety, or if you're a pitta, with the heat, irritability, heavy bleeding, or kapha, weight gain, lethargy, tenderness, edema, these might be some of the things that might happen with you, right? Like the vaginal dryness and skin dryness, dry hair, brittle nails would be more, and constipation would be more activated in vata. Headache, migraine, irritability, very strong hot flashes might be pitta, and a lot of fatigue, weight gain, bloating, fluid retention might be kapha. So some of the herbs that are great for perimenopause, number one, for specifically for Vata women and dryness, a lot of oil massages and shatavari, drink lots of warm water, cooling teas, aloe juice, coconut water, and so on uh for Pitta women who have heavy bleeding or a lot of pain, aloe juice or Umari Asava, which is again made of aloe, is very good. Again, coconut water. There's an herb called Ashoka, which is helps to regulate irregular bleeding and menstrual issues, and it's combined with Arjun for pain relief. And so Ashoka, Arjun, and maybe willow bark combination is great for kapha and pitta person. And then there is also Lodra and Punarnava. They can be given for water retention and for kapha kind of perimenopause. And then, of course, there is the diet as well. But let's not ignore the most important part is not to ignore ourselves. All our lives, as women, we put our family first. At this time, at perimenopause, put yourself first. It's all about you, honey. All right. I hope you enjoyed my little podcast.